All right, we're now live. If you're not familiar, you're catching us on DCI Educational Group. We're live streaming our state board prep infection control. This is part one, Milady, chapter 5 of the foundations. Okay. We're beginning with a video, why study infection control, and then we're going to move to 3 kinds of infection. The tip that I have given my students has been this. The term in sanitation, and this is repetitive to my students, the term sanitation, please be aware that we have had to change our verbiage and lingo that we've used years and years and years, because usually sanitation will refer to cleaning of stations, in a day sanitation, things of that nature. Sanitation, that term as relates to PSI and current testing, is cleaning of the hands. Okay, sanitizer, sanitation. All right, so we do not use the term sanitation when we talk of cleaning of surfaces. So when you see that word, please reel it on back. It means cleaning of the hands. Okay, cleaning of the hands, not surfaces. Let's begin with the first video, why study infection control. Then we're going to go down to 3 kinds of infection and take note from there.
Picture a construction site without helmets, or a restaurant where the chef doesn't wash their hands. Seems kind of ridiculous, right? Safety practices are in place across many industries to help keep the workers and the customers safe. And in the beauty industry, that means paying special attention to infection control. There are several different agencies that establish rules and regulations for beauty.
Okay, let's see what's going on. Hello.
Picture a construction site without helmets, or a restaurant where the chef doesn't wash their hands. Seems kind of ridiculous, right? Safety practices are in place across many industries to help keep the workers and the customers safe. And in the beauty industry, that means paying special attention to infection control. There are several different agencies that establish rules and regulations for beauty professionals and their workplaces. On the federal level, OSHA enforces workplace safety and health standards, while the EPA controls chemical products like disinfectants. As we dive in a bit closer, we can see state regulatory agencies, including licensing agencies and health departments, enforce the federal and state rules. It's important to abide by their rules and regulations to make sure you run a safe business. Salons, barbershops, and spas see a rotating number of people come in and out, so it's important to properly clean and disinfect tools or instruments that come in contact with clients. Bacteria can multiply like crazy, and some can even grow up to 100 times its size in a second. But by learning proper infection control practices, as well as what to watch out for, you'll be able to create a safe, clean environment for your coworkers and your clients.
All right, guys, and you can pretty much imagine how important this was. This was set really in stone around 22, post-pandemic and post-pandemic, where we all had to come out of the salon. And you have a lot of states that have infection control as a major emphasis. Now, by Tennessee making this a major emphasis of your exam, they're not concerned, or they will say they trust you that you will do a great haircut. Their concern is not with the haircut itself. Their concern is with the prevention of spread of bacteria, fungus, viruses, things of that nature. Okay, which was a major thing with the coronavirus and other, types of illnesses that could really flow through the salon. And so, not only was there emphasis in domestic violence training, because we get a lot of people that go through that, come through the salons and barbershops, but also there's been a major emphasis on infection control. One, protecting us. They want to know, can you protect yourself from what comes into your salon or spa? And also, can you protect the client? That's simply what the exam is for. We're going to always go a little deeper. Yes, we can protect the client and we can protect ourselves. Okay. So that's infection control. You're going to see a lot of it. All right. We're going to go prepare to go to the second video, and then we'll go into the ebook area I want you to study. Okay. And y'all, actually, infection control can be very interesting. They have new updates about a new virus, and you're learning about how to prevent it. I want you to continue to track it, all of the great updates, because you're working in a salon setting where people come into the salon all the time. You honestly don't know what they have going on. They look amazing. They could be asymptomatic. It doesn't bother them, but it bothers the people. It infects you. You have to go and care for your family. All right. This is another reason why no one should be performing any services in Tennessee without gloves. You may say, I can't get to the hair like I want to. I can't get to the skin and like I want to. I understand. But when you also understand that skin debris can get under your skin, and then you may take that home, you don't properly clean your hands. Cleaning your hands is a big factor too. When you don't properly clean your hands, you casually go home and cook dinner, food, engage with your family, and that becomes communicable. So you start to spread what you've picked up. And then these individuals, your family, go out to different areas and bam. So the states, I'm gonna let the state do what the state do. I do like the heightened precautions of infection control, especially since there's so much going on. I don't know if they're lab born, but there's animal, viruses, things that we can get from animals. So, and people are all over the place. So I do appreciate the heightened for infection control. I think we need to participate more when we actually get into our salons and spas. We need to do more of it. But as far as for the exam, all the way through the exam, you're going to see infection control. Here's a nugget, 3 kinds of clean. I want you to watch this video umpteen thousand times, okay? 3 kinds of clean. You're going to see this in reference on the exam, around the exam, behind the exam. You're going to see it. 3 kinds of clean.
3 kinds of clean. One of the first things you learn as a beauty pro is that you have to be clean. I'm not talking about being neat. I'm talking about your hands and your tools, your nippers, your shears, everything. Squeaky clean. A level of sanitary that sends germs and their nasty bags packing. Why this obsession over germs? Because germs can make you and your guests sick. Not to mention what they do to inspectors if you leave some, lying around. I'm just saying, you don't want to go there. So what do we mean by clean? Seems simple, but in reality, it's a little more complicated. That's because some words like sanitation mean different things to different people. Take regulators. They use sanitation as a catch-all to cover all 3 levels of infection control: cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization. The big difference, what they do to germs. Cleaning kills some germs, disinfecting kills most germs, and sterilizing, well, let's just say those little buggers don't stand a chance. Let's go back to beauty pros. All day long we clean dirt and gunk from our hands, petty spas, and stations. Why? It's not just to have a tidy station and clean hands. Nope, we go one better and clean to prevent germs from spreading. They love to find new places to hang out. Our job is to make it hard for them to find a place they can call home.
Right.
Otherwise, bacteria grows and people get sick and cancel appointments and, well, you know the rest. There are two ways to clean. Soap and water work best on hands and skin. All-purpose spray handles the dirty work on most surfaces. That brings us to the second level of infection control, disinfection. You disinfect non-porous or non-absorbent implements like nippers and shears by washing them, then submerging them in an EPA-registered broad-spectrum disinfectant. This is potent stuff. It kills almost any living thing that's too small to be seen, like bacteria and viruses that might be lurking on surfaces or bristles. Its mission? To destroy those tiny troublemakers before they spread diseases like TB, HIV, and pneumonia. So don't be shy about using the disinfectant. Just be sure to follow the timing directions on the label so it doesn't wreck your tools. Okay, back to the third level of infection control, sterilization. It's lethal, and by lethal, I mean it kills all microorganisms, including spores, dead. Salons, spas, and barbershops in some states sterilize any implements that invade the skin, especially around the face and nails. That includes tweezers, clippers, or anything that nips or cuts tissue. The reason? Sterilized implements prevent the spread of infection and keep your guests safe. The thing is, sterilization requires special equipment like an autoclave. That's why most shops use pre-sterilized disposable implements and disinfect the reusable ones. So let's recap. Cleaning cleans skin and surfaces and prevents the growth of some germs. Disinfection kills most viruses, fungi, and bacteria, but not their spores. And sterilization kills all microorganisms, including spores. Listen, if you can keep those three straight, you've nailed infection control.
All right. With that being said, you already know what it is. It's a big emphasis. We got to do it. We got to do it. Let's go over to the ebook now. Those three kinds of cleans are always going to come in handy. Go back. Any questions? And honestly, guys, think about it. You perform infection control every day. Every day, you guys perform infection control. Okay? Every day. The computer's a little slow. When we get up, any cleaning that we do around our homes, any cleaning that we do our hands, from sanitizing, general cleaning to disinfecting, we already perform that every day. And now just when you're going into a public area, expecting clients to come in, it just gets a little intensified. All right. So let me jump in. We're going to go over a little bit today, and we're going to have our assignment that's going to be due this weekend. So just super excited. All right, so chapter 5, infection control. As you can see, the objectives, okay? And this is what I like to pull up as well. I would not be a great teacher if I did not reference these two, okay? I'm gonna go to download. Okay, DCI Cosmo. And I don't think I sent these. Did y'all get these?
No.
Jump in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna send it today. I'm off myself. Hold on. Okay. All right, so master cosmetology. This booklet, you guys will really need to work hand in hand with this booklet now that we moved into State Board Prep. As I was telling you, infection control is your first section. You will have 25 questions. That's 25% of your exam. All right. You only have 100 questions, guys. You only have 100 questions. All right. 90% of that is going to come from the book. The other 10% is going to come from the state law. I thought I sent that, but I guess I didn't. I'm gonna check again. But these are the areas that you should be highlighting in that chapter. In chapter 5, these are the areas you should be highlighting. Workstation and environment. All right. Chemical labeling, storage, and disposal. OSHA safety data sheets. So as we begin to jump in, you're going to find many agencies, the EPA, OSHA, things of that nature. That is, it should be highlighted, and those should be study areas. Safe working practices. So basically, hand hygiene, that's hand washing. All right. Even though you say, I know how to wash my hands, technically, I need you to watch the hand washing video. Technically, I need you to read the procedure. Okay. Because how you've been washing your hands may not be the standard for the exam. So, yes, we've been washing our hands when we were a little kid, but let's go back and watch the video and also read the procedure. I want you to read the rubric, because the rubric takes us step by step. And when we go over the step-by-step applications, guess what? When we see the question, and the question may ask for a particular step, we know exactly what to plug in. And of course, client protection. Client protection, guys, is going to be draping, gloves, okay, head drape, towel, neck strip. That's going to be client protection, okay? Regulatory agencies with OSHA, EPA, also your state board regulatory agencies. So it may ask you something related to the state. And this is what I want to talk about with your state board. The state board makes the rules, not the laws. Okay. You have representative politicians that make the laws. And then now you have rules. Okay. The state board makes the rules. Okay. From there, infection control talks about infectious disease, virus, pathogen procedures. When we come into that, that's why I say you guys are going to read the procedures: infectious disease, virus, pathogens, cleaning and disinfection, single and multi-use disinfectants, procedures. So a lot of this is a lot of video and a lot of protocol procedure reading. Okay. Can be a lot of words, but we'll act it out. And then standard precautions for blood exposure incident. This is one thing. There is a video for this, but look, guys, let me tell you this. This is what you think of this. If you were working on someone and you cut them by mistake, or blood happened to, stop your service, they got punctured, something happened where they got cut, there's a wound now. What would happen? So the standard precautions for blood exposure incident, you would need to learn what to do when you draw blood. When blood is drawn, what do we do? That's going to be a big thing in our theory and in our practice. So although, yes, we have many things to learn and review, or at this point, review, we got to make sure that when we draw blood, some kind of way, when we see it, what do we do? Okay. From the cleanup component, stopping the service, gloves, disposal, that is what that's talking about. And that's going to be very, very important. Okay. And then effective responses for client injury. Both of these go together. You don't keep going, you stop the service. You don't keep going, you stop the service. If I was doing a manicure and I took the nippers and I cut my client cuticle and she cut past the cuticle and it drew blood, I can't keep going to the next nail while she's bleeding. Okay, so those two go together. Blood exposure incidents, the standard precautions, the standard, okay, and then effective responses. What do we do when we do draw the blood? Got it? And so this is going to be an area for us next week. And we're introing into today. Your job is to read chapter 5, infection control. But I want to pace you. I don't want you to go too far, okay? Because I want to be able to break down all of these components so you'll be ready to take your exam, okay? Be ready to take your exam. So I'm super excited about that. And the first thing is workstation and environment, chemical labeling, storage, disposal, and OSHA safety data sheets. That's our first areas, okay? And we move back over to SEMA. And I'm having to stop share because of the screen. Moving back over. As you can see for our new student as well, the work has been really done for you. You just have to go in and study. Okay, just have to go in and study. Go in and study. I'm going to email you the PSI bulletin, and that's really, you'll take that as a lead to go into each chapter. And this is the areas I should be working on. Okay, this is the area I should be working on. It says state board, in the pink, state board and other regulatory agents require that infection control measures and safe work practices be applied while serving the public. When we are doing our clients' hair, skin, nails, we are serving the public, okay? Infection control refers to methods used to eliminate or reduce the transmission of infection. Our infectious organisms from one individual to another. So our job is to help stop the spread or prevent the spread of bacteria from one person to another. This thing does not need to become communicable, does not need to be passed from one person to the next. Okay. It says since transmission can occur, we're in the green when using contaminated implements, tools, or equipment. We got to make sure, and this is for us, since we know we can spread all things, when we cut hair, we got to have a clean comb when we comb hair. We cut hair, we got to have clean clippers, clean trimmers, things so that outliners, all of those things must be clean. Our shears even have to be clean. Some people say they're stainless steel, they're still touching. You know what could be on hair? You can have itch mites, you can have scabies, you can have ringworms, you can have lice. All of that could be within the component of the scalp to the hair. All right, so anything that's of that nature that can be spread from one person to another, you have to have precaution. All right, and it's like the what if of the beauty industry. What if? Okay, so what do you do if this happens? And so you gotta go through that training. We also have safe working practices, and that requires that implements, tools, and equipment be used safely. You're not going to have one set of tools. You're going to have multiple sets of tools. All right. In the blue, it's your responsibility as a beauty professional to use proper and effective infection control methods. You're going to learn or relearn or enhance what you already know as related to these methods. And this is what I want you to know. Cleaning, when I say, I bookmark this, yes. Okay, these are terms. Cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting, and sterilizing. Okay, they have 4 different meanings. I need you to understand the 4. What is cleaning, what is sanitizing, what is disinfecting, what is sterilizing. Then I want you to think about, what do you do on a daily basis? If you lay down, when you lay down tonight, did I do any cleaning? Did I do any sanitizing? Did I do any disinfecting? Did I do any sterilizing? And you really need to identify what would be considered disinfecting versus cleaning. Once you get that, something clicks, you're able to know the difference between all four. Okay. Cleaning, mechanical process using soap and water or detergent and water. Does that remind you of washing hands? Remove all visible dirt, debris, and many disease-causing germs. Cleaning also removes invisible debris that interferes with disinfection. Cleaning. I could just take a wipe and just wipe the station. An alcohol wipe. Cleaning. Hands, I could do hand soap and go up under the water. It didn't really kill nothing. It cleared. Okay? It removed all visible dirt, debris. I may still have some stuff going on, but it looked clean. Okay? All right. So cleaning only gets us so far. All right. Then we have sanitizing. Cleaning, soap and water, detergent. You're talking about laundry. Cleaning also. Take a bucket of soap and water and wash the windows. Cleaning, soap and water on the cabinets. Okay, it's just cleaning. It's gonna remove, it's gonna do what it do. It's gonna get rid of visible dirt. Okay. And it's gonna help in the process of eliminating other things that disinfection really can go in and do. But it's gonna be your initial process. When you are cleaning your implements, your clippers, your combs, soap and water, that's just regular cleaning. They still need to be disinfected. You drop some on the floor, you pick it up and go rinse it off, put a little soap on there. That's cleaning. Okay. Sanitizing. Chemical process of reducing the number of disease-causing germs on clean surfaces to a safe level. Infection control professionals consider sanitation. It's a layperson marketing term, as in hand sanitizers. Okay. Most of the time, or all of the time, in beauty, you're going to sanitize before disinfection. You're going to wash your hands before you do anything. Okay? Sanitizing. Disinfecting. Chemical process for use with non-porous items. When I say non-porous items, we are talking about items that do not absorb moisture, countertops, floors, bathroom, appliances, showers, refrigerators. Okay, your stations. It does not absorb moisture. All right, that's disinfecting. Chemical process for use with non-porous items that use specific products to destroy harmful organisms, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi, except bacteria spores on implements and environmental surfaces. Spores are the origination of the bacteria. All right. Spores can only be killed through sterilization. Think of a reference that you would use sterilization. If you're at home, a lot of times in childcare, they would sterilize the bottles, the glass bottles. What's a general sterilization? If you're not using a sterilization cabinet, autoclave, you are using a pot of boiling water, 212 degrees, that's boiling point. Okay? Fahrenheit, 212 degrees. And once it gets to the boiling point, you will dip your metal implement. These are your cuticle pushers. These are your extractor tools. These are your glass items. You will dip them inside of that boiling water. That boiling water is what we consider the process of sterilization. It is strong enough to remove harmful organisms, including bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Okay? And it kills the spores, the bacteria spores, so the birth of these. In disinfecting, it's amazing that it smells good and it looks clean. But after a period of time, those germs will populate again. So this is why you cannot use the term, use this. I just cleaned that yesterday. It don't look like it's been used. Well, you cleaned it yesterday, but disinfection only lasts for a certain amount of time. And the bacteria has started to repopulate. So although it looks clean, it's not clean. You have to go back again. Okay, so that's disinfecting, moves into sterilizing, and sterilizing not only kills the bacteria, but I'm gonna kill the spores. It ain't gonna grow again. We getting rid of this. Okay, and so there are protocol and procedures to sterilizing. We don't use boiling hot water in the salon. You know, that's a home thing. And it's been unconventional to use it in the salon. So we have the autoclaves and the sterilizer cabinets. So that's what we use in the salon. You're still going to sanitize your hands. You're going to disinfect the tools, and then you're going to place those tools into the sterilizing cabinet. Okay. After a set amount of time, you're going to pull them out and you're going to store them in a clean container, following manufacturer directions of how to store those items. That's what we really need to understand is cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting, and sterilizing. Okay. So that's going to be a major, major emphasis. All right. Of course, why do we need the understanding? You can find it in yellow, but let's go to the next one. This is going to be referencing to your state board. All right. Describe federal and state regulatory agencies. Many federal and state agencies regulate the beauty and wellness professions. It says federal agencies set guidelines for the manufacture, sale, and use of equipment and chemical ingredients. Please note that, okay? Come down to green. State agencies regulate licensing, enforcement, and your conduct when you are on the job. This is our state boards. Okay. Pink is the government. Green is the state. Okay. Pink is the government. Green is the state. Go to federal agencies. This is what we're studying. OSHA, EPA. You have to know the difference between the two. Okay. OSHA, EPA. And remember, part of that exam, they're already telling you you're going to have questions from this chapter, and especially questions about federal agencies and between OSHA and EPA. And the EPA is the Environment Protection Agency. OSHA is Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Okay, so we are moving forward progressively. I do want you to take a moment. We're going to go over the difference between these two. I'm going to stop share. Let's go over the difference between these two, and then I'm going to move to our video. Okay, so already highlighted, already bookmarked, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Honestly, you guys need to understand what does OSHA means and what does EPA means, which means you may have, somebody may say Occipital Safety and Health Administration. No. You need to know that OSHA, OSHA means Occupational Safety and Health Administration. You also need to know what it does, okay? Was created as part of the U.S. Department of Labor to regulate and enforce safety and health standards to protect employees in the workplace. All right. That's what it does. It's formed by the Department of Labor, and it regulates and enforces safety and health standards to protect employees in the workplace. Okay. What does OSHA address? Issues related to handling, mixing, storing, disposing of products, general safety in the workplace, and your right to know about any potentially hazardous ingredients contained in the products and how to avoid these measures. Okay, may seem a little long on a definition. Yep, okay, but I want you to summarize it. Okay, how does OSHA do this regulating? It requires those chemical manufacturers and importers to tell them all your business. I need you to tell me what's in it, how harmful it is. OSHA requires those manufacturers to do the work, and they have to tell us this, and all of the information that's collected goes on a form called the SDS. Okay? Remember, we saw in the PSI bulletin about the SDS. So you need to know what the SDS is. And it says that SDS is called a safety data sheet. It's a 16 category standard format. So it's a form, okay? Used to be called MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet. Now it's called SDS, all right? Its purpose is to inform you of what this product is made of, every ingredient. It gives you all of the chemical background of it. If it got in your eye, what to do. If you're putting this on the shelf, what's the shelf life of it? What do you mix this with? What you don't mix it with? What temperature to store it at? It gives you all of those details because OSHA mandated the company to provide those details. Okay? OSHA mandated the company to provide those details. So anytime that you're dealing with chemicals, products, disinfectants, whatever your favorite disinfectant you use at home, look up, just Google or go to AI and say, hey, what's the safety data sheet for 409, Clorox wipes, Barbicide wipes? What's the safety data sheet? Okay. And that sheet, that material, that information will pull up and boom, it will help you. You're using it in the salon, you know, especially with your spaces, ventilation, it will tell you how to use it, what you should be using with it, and what you cannot use with it. So the yellow here, this page itself is going to be very important. And this is page 97. So if you can mark this down, that page 97, it's going to take a closer read. It definitely is, okay? The EPA is Environmental Protection Agency. In yellow, it registers all types of disinfectants sold and used in the United States. Everything that you clean with must have an EPA number. If the product does not have an EPA registered number, an EPA number, Environmental Protection Agency, if it has not been registered with the EPA, you really should not be using because you don't know what those chemicals would do. You don't know if they're harmful to you or not, okay? They should actually not be sold in stores either if it does not have an EPA, okay? Please note, an EPA registered number will signify that this product does what it says it does and is safe to use within the walls of the United States. Okay. All disinfectants sold and used in the United States must have an EPA number. You can go into your cabinets, to your cleaning closets right now, pull out a disinfectant and look for the EPA number. You would take that number, and that number you can look it up and it'll bring you back to the SDS. You see how things are connected? Okay. It'll tell you what's in it, what can be used with, what's the storage life of it, and many different things. If it gets in my eye, what do I do? All that good stuff. All right. Questions or comments? Okay. I just saw this term and I clicked it. I need to actually change it back. Let me know. This is our study. We're going into our state board prep. Is it too much information? Too soon? Let me know. All right, all right, all right. Let's go a little further into EPA. Disinfectants are chemical products that destroy most bacteria, fungi, viruses on surfaces. All right, so learning about disinfectants and what they do, I did highlight in yellow. So it is against federal law to use any disinfecting product in a way contrary to the use indicated on the label. So we cannot be drinking a disinfectant. We got to use the disinfectant for what it's used for. You cannot use it. I'm telling you, it's against the law. So you're using it to harm somebody, you could go to jail. You will go to jail. Okay. So before manufacturers can sell a product for disinfecting surfaces, tools, implements, or equipment, they must attain an EPA number. And I think I just stated that as well. So if you're using an item that does not have an EPA number, red flag, blue flag, yellow flag, and my eyeballs emoji, okay? No, we're not doing that. Not in 2026. There's nothing that powerful that these other disinfectants cannot use. Okay, you must also have your disinfectants labeled. Everything you use must be labeled. All right, it was a time back in the day when you could write EPA on your disinfectant and be fine. No, 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 no. All your disinfectants must be labeled. And then many people would think that household bleach would be considered the go-to disinfectant for salons. It is not. Okay, simply because of hazardous smells. Like people inhaling it, and you got people coming into your business. Okay. So as they come into your business, you don't know what their issues may be personally, breathing, respiratory. As they inhale that, it cause damages. And half of the people don't carry insurance on their businesses inside of it anyway. And so you really could be liable for health care. Whatever their insurance does not pay if they have to go to the doctor or emergency room due to the fumes that was in your establishment. Okay. We should be using, and this is the state is very particular, we should be using disinfectants that kill three things. Your Clorox wipes, I'm not bashing brands. Your Clorox wipes, your Lysol wipes, it's a no-go for the salon. You may say, now, hold on, Ms. Cox, what are you talking about? It's a no-go, guys. They only get rid of two things. Now, here's the three things I'm telling you about. Whatever you use in a salon has to kill bacteria. It has to kill viruses. And it has to kill fungi. So it has to kill fungus, viruses, and bacteria. Most, and I'm just saying, generally your Clorox wipes will only kill two. It will say against virus, 99.9% against viruses and bacteria, doesn't have an elimination of for the fungi. So any fungus, bacteria that comes in, it would not fight against it. Clients could still come in and be detrified because they picked up something out of the salon. Okay. And especially we talking nail shops, yeah. Clorox wipes ain't cleaning ain't doing what you needed to do. Let me say Fabuloso. It smells amazing, but it don't do what you need to do. Pull another one out. Smells amazing, but cannot be used in the salon, baby. Okay. We got to make sure whatever we're using in salon kills bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Most of the time that it's going to be what we call our traditional, Barbicide or anything on that line, Marvicide, any of those salon disinfectants are going to kill those three. During the pandemic, the school had plenty of those disinfectants. It wasn't until I got to the school one day and it said, I don't have to go stand in line for any wipes or anything like that because we got this. We got this. And on the container, your Barbicide, it says kills COVID-19. So I was like, hey, I think we're good. We just need to spray and wipe down with this, and we'll clean and disinfect with this. And there you go. That eliminated us having to run and buy Lysol and sprays and stuff like that because we already had a great supply. I mean, a large supply. My students and my instructors I even made sure they had what they needed to take home because we were out, man, we were out for months. It was just going to sit up. So they needed it. They absolutely needed it. So there we go with that. Okay. Any questions? We just went over a huge part of that infection control part of the exam. And I'm going to probably pull questions Monday from these particular areas before we move forward. All right. What do I need you to do? I need you to continue reading chapter 5. Okay. We're going to pick up on state regulatory agencies. So I want you to go back over what we went over today and then go a little further into state regulatory agencies. All right. Go a little further into state regulatory agencies. As we look here, I need to make sure now that I give you guys that email of this PSI bulletin. All right. Workstation and environment, chemical labeling, storage and disposal. We've only talked about OSHA and the SDS sheet, so we got that squared away. And then regulatory agencies, we've talked about OSHA, EPA, and then we're going to talk about state board. So we're knocking these out. Those areas are where your state board questions are going to come from. Eventually, and then we also talked about disinfectants. All right. So we've covered a good amount today. And then we're going to continue to cover more. Any questions? Let me stop share before we move on to the next thing.